Hey there everyone. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a common injury, one that's called peroneal tendinopathy. Now Google calls it peroneal tendinitis. From a physiological perspective, it's not entirely correct, but on the outside of the leg here, we've got two muscles and they're called the peroneal muscles. Now the two muscles, they sit on the outside and they run down the leg, and about this portion of the leg here, they form a tendon. Those tendons wrap around the outside of the ankle, and one of the tendons, if I push on my foot, you can see the tendon popping out there and attaches into the base of this bone here. And this tendon here is called the peroneus brevis tendon. You've got another tendon that comes down underneath that or below it, and it comes down and goes underneath the foot. This tendon is called peroneus longus. Now these two tendons, the job of them is to turn the foot out this way. Now in a lot of people that sprain their ankles, or in a lot of people that have a foot type that is what we call inverted or supinated, these tendons work really hard. And what can happen is they can become strained and overused, and they get little micro tears in them. And when that happens, they become quite painful and inflamed. So the pain usually revolves or resides in this part of the ankle here. It can be any part of the tendon. Sometimes it can be up here, sometimes in behind the bone here. This is called your lateral malleolus, and other times down here, or you can have it at the insertion. So it can be at the insertion of the peroneus brevis tendon just there. Now, when we injure these or when we strain them, with all injuries, one of the most important or key concepts is that you splint and you stop them from being stretched and you stop them from being used. Now to do that, you've got a number of different ways you can offload them. And one of the simplest ways is using the kinesio tape. Now, kinesio tape, depending on how aggressive you do it, can sometimes not be aggressive enough in this injury case. So if you find that you're still getting pain when you tape it, it means that the splinting effect of the tape is providing is not enough. So I'm going to go through and show you a simple method. Now, what we're going to do is take the tape, we're going to measure from underneath this bone here, and we're going to go to above the bone on the outside here. So we're going to take that, we're going to measure to there, and we're going to cut 3 pieces. Now, near enough is good enough. So we're going to cut 3 pieces roughly the same. Now, round the edges of the tape off. Okay, and take the tape. Now the first piece, about 2 centimeters from the end, we're going to peel it back, and we're going to pop this on the inside of the ankle, just underneath that bone. Now, grab the tape, hold it, fold it back without touching the tape too much, which can be a little bit tricky. Okay, about 2 centimeters from the end, leave that part there because that's going to have no stretch to it. Now, hold the tape, try and put your foot in about a 90-degree position, grab the tape and give it a good 100% stretch, bring it around the outside of the ankle and pat it in place. Now, as I've said in other videos, if you want the tape to stick really well, spray your skin with hairspray first, and that's going to be piece number 1. Now the second piece is going to do the same thing, but you're going to overlap them. So you're going to grab this piece, we're going to put it just behind that piece, pat it down, grab the piece of tape, stretch it all the way around, and bring it up the outside of the leg and pat it in place. Okay, now that part there, we want to make sure there's no stretch to it. Okay, so if you stretch the origin and insertion of the tape, what's going to happen is it's going to peel off really quickly. Now the third piece is going to do the same thing, except it's going to go a little bit further forward. So we're going to grab the piece of tape, we're going to pop it just in front of the others, we're going to hold, pull the tape, bring it around the other side of the foot, and up the outside of the leg. Okay, and then the last part have no stretch to it. Okay, so that's part 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lock this down first. So we're going to put another piece a little bit wider than the pieces you've put on. So we're going to grab the tape, round the edges of the tape off, Okay, grab it and tear it in the middle. The ends of the tape have no stretch. Give it a really good 100% stretch. Push it down straight over the top of the tape. And these pieces, once again, have no stretch to it. So you pat them down. Okay. Now, if you do have hairy legs, it is best if you shave it because the tape will stick even better. Now, the final piece, what we're going to do is get the tape and we're going to measure from just in front of where your tape is beginning to just in front of where it's ending. Okay, grab the tape, round the edges off again. Okay, about 2 centimeters from the end, peel it off, put it just in front of these pieces. Okay, grab, and we're going to stretch it all the way around the other side of the foot. And the last part is going to have no stretch. So the idea of this taping technique is to pull your foot outwards a little bit. So what you're actually doing by pulling the foot outwards is you're taking the muscle and the tendon and you're shortening the origin of insertion so it can't stretch or your foot can't invert as much. This piece is locking things down and this piece is helping to stabilize the ankle, but it's also stopping this tape from pulling away and stretching outwards as well. Now, once again, this is a very gentle technique. We can do things that are a lot more aggressive. If you do this and you're still getting pain, it means that the tendons are not ready to be loaded anymore. And it also indicates that the taping technique is not aggressive enough. As with all injuries, if you begin loading them too soon in the injury cycle, you're actually going to delay the healing process. Give that a go.